The Paralives team showed us a brief preview of the first world that comes in early access, but don't expect a full showcase of this new world. Revealing dev chats show that the team is hesitant also about active careers, lore, and active school days. Here's what you need to know. Honestly, after seeing the Patreon post with the new town, I was pretty excited to see a full layout, but it does turn out we might have to wait into the full launch of early access. As this person asked, when you start getting the town buttoned up, are you going to do a big public showcase like you did with the gameplay overview last year? I feel this would be a really big milestone that could generate a lot of hype. And honestly, I do generally agree with the sentiment. I get comments all the time about the Paralyzed team not showing enough information. Honestly, I think they have shown a decent amount of information, but I do hear people asking for more gameplay overviews. And while the town itself might not be a gameplay overview, you certainly could feature gameplay within it. However, this is the Paralyzed team answer. While you're totally right that making another big video would generate hype and it would be cool to show our progress, it's not our main focus right now. We're working hard on finishing the game, and honestly, making a video takes a lot of time. It stands to reason that before the game launches in early access, we'll have a thing or two to show people to get them excited, but there's not much in lieu of concrete announcements. So overall, this does remain ambiguous. It doesn't look like we're probably going to get a full showcase of the town, but of course, I do think they're going to have to make some videos to hype up early access, even if it is just a trailer or two before they get to launch. Again, I do see some people hesitant because they claim they have not seen enough actual gameplay, so we'll have to see how the team handles that, and you can let me know in the comments below. Overall, I do think it's reasonable to want to see this, but I also understand them wanting to just focus on completing their game. After all, they promised early access sometime this year, and obviously we still have time, but it is a lot to take on. The team seems pretty confident in their answers, and they seem to understand what they need to do behind the scenes to get this game running. On a similar vein, I also want to talk about actually what the town is going to be like. Now, honestly, I have talked about the town in a couple videos. However, we do have more details I think you will find interesting. This person asks, will there be things that you have to acquire through shopping, whether it be online or visiting an actual store? I would love to actually make my parents walk into a store and get things rather than have them being able to instantly access whatever they magically want at home, such as how Sims 2 had groceries, phones, and clothing. And yes, I do have a bias because I love Sims 2 and I love the ability to grocery shop in person. In fact, even though I love the third Sims game, I actually do like the physicality of walking into a store. Now, this is interesting here. Anna says, I agree, in the upcoming weeks and months, we will work on the shops that will be available in our first town. We already have a basis, but we need to polish them some more. Remember that these dev chats are from a while ago, so this doesn't mean they're still working on this, but the ability to actually go into some shops I think could be really exciting. But again, the answer here is pretty vague, so I don't know what that's going to entail. Remember, there definitely are going to be a fair bit of rabbit holes in this first town. Nonetheless, even though I would prefer to actually walk into a shop and shop, I will say, even just visiting the shop and having to click on it and order things, I think still would be nice and immersive, so you can let me know what you think about that in the comments below. It is clear to me that the team actually does draw a lot of inspiration from Sims 2 in particular, and also some elements of the third Sims game too. If you happen to be a person that actually enjoys high school years from Sims 4, I'm happy for you. I don't tend to be one of those people. However, people do have questions about schools, so as a reminder, unlike high school years in Sims 4, it is not going to be an active school day. Now, I do want to go into an opinion video at some point, but just to be blunt here, I don't really think active school days for the most part are that interesting, and this comes from me as a person who teaches. However, we are learning that there also are going to be limitations to overall school options. The question asks, how are the school options in-game feeling? Anna answers, there's no options for schools right now. As of right now, there's only one elementary school and one high school. We'll probably add different options for the same levels as updates in the future. future. And honestly, I don't think we need more than one high school or elementary school. That is more than adequate. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I wouldn't want more schooling options in the future, such as a college or university, and some people are also asking for preschools. For the elementary school, will toddlers be able to go there for preschool, or would there be a separate school? And yet again, the answer is just one elementary school for children and of course high schools. She did also say, I don't think toddlers will go anywhere, at least for early access. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't want a preschool in the future or some kind of option, but I think this is a perfectly acceptable answer. Now that said, we are veering into slightly more controversial territory because we are talking about active careers. Now, we already know that careers are just going to be rabbit holes when the game first launches. However, we're getting even more insight as to why active careers might not be a priority even in the future. As Anna explains, personally, it's just my opinion. I don't really like the idea of having active careers. To me, active careers feels a lot like having a mini simulation game in the game, without all the good things a whole career simulation game would bring. For instance, I love cooking games because they are built around the whole core loop that is satisfying, but having an active cooking career in a life sim game usually does not interest me. The incentives are usually about maximizing the money you gain. They usually have a speed management aspect, which are not all the things that would interest me in a life sim. In games like The Sims, I like to test the active careers for one game day once in a while, but then I would still want to focus on the life sim game itself. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I do concur with this for the most part for my own gameplay style. I do think though it is good to have an option of active careers. While I might not always love active careers, I don't go to them all the time, I will say having a few active careers, especially if they are unique and seem nuanced, of course do offer a different way to play and just to mix it up. They are also brainstorming about how they would implement them. If anything, I'd really prefer thinking about how to improve the passive career system, making it less rabbit holey by adding quests outside of work or more opportunities. And so, personally, I think that's a great foundation to make the rabbit hole careers more nuanced and interesting and work on those first. Then, if you want to add active careers, that's excellent, but this actually is a great balance of immersion and also not having to invest those resources. And finally, a lot of you have been wondering about lore in Paralives. Personally, I do appreciate lore because I think it does bring character to a game. One thing that really irks me about Sims 4 is it really doesn't have a really good identity, and also I think some of that comes from a lack of lore. Now, I personally don't tend to play tons of households that are already made up, but I will say in Sims 2, the households that are pre-made I think are excellent. They're full of drama and intrigue and mystery, and that is probably one of my favorite parts about Sims 2. That said, at the same time, Paralives does have to be its own game, and for now at least, lore is not a priority. As someone asked, have you thought about putting in deep, intricate Easter eggs, or creepy, mysterious lore or secrets that will make people speculate for years? Anna answers, I don't think so for now. The Easter eggs or little secrets we thought about are not that deep. Lore building hasn't been a priority yet, though there still might be some at some point. I will say, I definitely want to see some type of lore. It doesn't have to be Bella Goth levels. With Paralyze, I do think there is potential. We have Maggie and Sebastian. We actually have backstories for them. In addition, they have mentioned abandoned buildings, and we saw a secret staircase in one of their showcases. And while it wouldn't keep me from playing Paralyze, I just think that lore adds character to a game and also gives it more of an identity. Of course, all these are my opinions and my opinions alone. Even though I don't always agree with every single decision they make, and that is just natural, they still have a good handle on what they're doing for this game. And no matter what they decide, I hope that early access goes as well as possible. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.